Alright, so I'm out here today working on my truck as usual. My washer fluid tank started leaking, and I don't know what I did with it. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it started leaking out of the sensor port and somewhere else. As you can see, it's pretty beat up. But anyway, I figured while I'm doing this little thing on my truck, I figured I'd talk about what people need to know before they buy a 24 valve Cummins truck. I've seen a lot of videos about how guys talk about the suspension and the automatic transmissions. Those are obviously a bigger problem, but they don't really talk about other things like my truck, for instance, is a 53 block. Not all 53 blocks were bad. My truck has, I say, around 260,000 miles on it, and the block's not cracked at all or anything like that. If you do look at a truck that has a 53 block, what you would do, let me get a better light. What you would do is look near the freeze-out plugs on the right side of the block. You can't really see from up here. If you go underneath and you look at it, I'm trying to get a better angle here. Oh, if you just look up right above the oil pan, you'll see the freeze-out plugs. Almost looks like a ridge, like right next to the oil cooler. They usually crack horizontally right along, like in the direction of the exhaust manifold. They usually crack that way. Not all 53 blocks are bad. I've seen a lot of them in like Bluebird school buses, the older ones like 2000 and up. A few Freightliner, the FL70s, the FL60s, sorry, the FL70s had the ISB 315, and so yeah, I've seen, the 53 block in a lot of those trucks. None of them cracked or, high mileage, 250, 300,000 miles and up. So, the 53 blocks, some of them were bad, and some of them were good. Another issue is the engine computers, the PCM on the firewall, and the engine control module down there on the side of the block. I had to change both computers in my truck. The PCM I actually didn't have to change. I got a misdiagnosis from a transmission shop saying that my PCM was no good. The PCMs sometimes go bad, but I've seen the engine control module, the engine mounted computer go bad more times than not. They all fail in their own ways. If you want to look them up how. They're more common than the PCM. Another thing that guys overlook is the pushrod cover gasket, which is on the same side of it's on the left side of the engine. I actually changed mine not too long ago. You got to take the injector pump out. I don't even know if I can see it anymore. Yeah, you're not going to be able to see it with all this stuff in the way, the intake horn and whatnot. You can kind of see it right there next to the ECM, that blue gasket. Yeah, that's another big job if you ever have to change it. These are like the overlooked problems that I feel like no one really mentions, in my opinion. You know, everyone just talks about how the steering in these second gen Dodges are junk, the transmissions are junk. Like, everybody knows that. You know, I've had this truck for about 5 years now, and I've gone through pretty much every single malfunction that these trucks have, with the no bus codes for the computers, the transmission blowing up, the 47 RE, my VP44 took a shit. You know, the whole front end thing with the death wobble because the track bar joint was wasted. But yeah, that's really the only, once you fix those things, and people bash the VP44 for being a lousy an injector design, or injector pump design, but the main cause, I believe, is that these trucks from the factory, they had no way, or Dodge didn't incorporate a fuel pressure sensor from the lift pump. So guys would just drive the trucks and the lift pumps would fail, and it would just basically run the VP44 dry, because the VP44 would be trying to suck fuel, you know, all the way from the tank, and then that's it. Then that's, I feel like that's the majority of VP44 failures, is no monitoring on the fuel pressure system from the factory, and obviously the lousy Carter lift pumps. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I love my truck. You know, I don't think I'll ever get rid of it. So, well, maybe one day, but not soon. Obviously, like, the body's rotted out. I changed the front fenders. I did the door bottoms and rockers myself. It didn't come out great, but it was okay. I didn't really use Bondo. I was kind of in a rush when I did it. And yeah, that's about it. You know, as long as you got your fast lift pump, I think you could probably easily get almost 400,000 miles, 500,000 miles out of a VP44. So that's just my 2 cents on going to buy a 24 valve and what I know. Thanks.